Dusty, thanks again for joining me. I'm going to pick up where we sort of left off on our last conversation, which was you starting to touch on this concept of listening with our eyes and our ears.
Yeah.
So do you want to sort of expand on that a little bit more for me?
Yeah, so often in conversations, it isn't just about hearing what somebody said, it's how they're saying it and the language that they're using. And so that's what we hear through our ears, but also our eyes are reading those non-verbal cues from the person that we're talking with. And it might be a frown, it might be a laugh, it might be a gesture, it might be somebody moving their foot that seems to be quite annoying, and it might pique curiosity in you to understand where they're at and what's causing that angst or enjoyment for that in that moment. So that's what I'd call listening with your eyes. So
these are all things that we may consider without realising we're considering.
I think they are, and I guess the purpose of this kind of conversation we're having is to bring those thoughts to the conscious mind rather than the subconscious mind, because it does happen subconsciously most of the time.
Right.
And what we're about is helping people flex their curiosity muscle. Now, we know that a curiosity muscle doesn't exist inside the human body, but wouldn't it be great if we had one? And so what we want to do is encourage people to work with each other and actually be curious about what the talker is saying, to allow us to really connect with them in a way that helps them work.
Yep. So again, if I'm hearing you correctly now, we've got this listening process where we're starting to be really curious. We've looked at connections in one of our pieces already. So what I'm hearing is that the second part could be we start to explore something.
Absolutely, yeah. Exploring feels really important because the purpose of listening is to find the key piece of information or the key curiosity that helps unlock the potential of the individual that you're working with.
Right. So again, if we take this out of the sporting context, and cooking is a really big thing at this moment in time, as we both know. So we, as part of a conversation, we could be discussing a recipe.
Yeah.
Yep. As part of that conversation, I'm listening to you, you're listening to me, and we're really curious about what the recipe looks like. So part of the exploration may be around ingredients in terms of quantities, when they're added, things like that. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, and it could be that actually you would prefer the ingredients, but I might talk to you about the method.
Right.
And I've miscommunicated with you there, because what I haven't recognised is that for you it's the ingredients, so you need to know it's 5 raisins, 3 fluid ounces of this, that and the other. I've said to you, you need to stir it twice, you need to then prepare it, let it rest for 20 minutes. For you, that's not important. The ingredients is the important part. So what that would show is I haven't listened, and what I really want to do is hear the analogy or the use and the language that you use so that I can reflect that back to you, so that we connect, and I connect in a subservient way to you, subservient to the conversation, i.e. I'm using your language, not mine.
Yeah, so that reply becomes really important in terms of reflecting that curiosity, exploration, and then the reply should reflect that.
Yeah, but reflect your language and not necessarily mine, unless, of course, I've said to you, can I offer you a different and alternative solution? But at that point, you've got the right to say, actually, no, I'm quite happy here, and I need to be comfortable with that.
Yeah. I guess what you've touched on there is, would that take place without any trading, any sort of development? Is that the sort of thing that would just normally happen in conversation?
On a surface level, yes, it can do, but of course, the more attuned you are to yourself, as we've discussed previously, the more you'll hone that skill of being able to listen with good intention and curiosity.
Right. So if you were to summarise this concept of listen, consider and reply, what would your summary be, and have you got any little analogies that you could use to help us?
The way I would summarise it is this notion of flexing the curiosity muscle. Be curious. Be curious to hear the language that's being used by the speaker. Be curious enough to reflect those words back in a way that is helpful to accelerate or continue the conversation, but puts the listener at the heart of the conversation.
Thanks, Dust. Thank you very much.